Welcome back from that short break. Here we are talking about Nigeria 65. Now it is about the oil and gas sector. And Olatide Jeremiah is standing by to help us, explain some issues around Nigerian oil and gas sector since 1960 or 1958 that we discover oil in Nigeria. Olatide Jeremiah, a good day to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me once again.
All right.
And a big congratulations to Nigeria as we celebrate our 65th anniversary.
Interesting. I like the way you are putting out your own, congratulatory message to Nigeria. But the question that follows is this: has this sector really benefit Nigeria with all the vibrancy, the robustness of our oil and gas resources? Has Nigerians really benefit from it?
Well, in the last 65 years, we've had a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly in the petroleum industry. And going back to 1960, we had our first refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery that came on stream in 1965. And thereafter, we had the Warri refinery in 1976, 1975 thereabout, that came on stream. We also have the Kaduna refinery. All those refineries came between 1960 and 1980. And between 1980 and the year 2000, those refineries went comatose. Those refineries went comatose. And we began to import heavily in the year 2000. And the subsidy came on board. The subsidy actively was restructured by the then President Olusegun Obasanjo. And Nigeria imported heavily. We became one of the biggest importer of petroleum products in Africa and even in the world. And we've had a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly. But thank God, we now have on stream the Dangote refinery that is currently refining 650,000 barrels per day. That's equivalent to 100 million liters daily, which has the capacity to supply Nigerians' needs, petroleum needs, and also export to African countries and to countries all over the world. So I think we are starting a new era when it comes to the petroleum industry with the Dangote refinery coming on stream. Because one good thing about the Dangote refinery coming on stream is that is a pace setter to other refineries. Over time, you start seeing other refineries start springing up because he has given them this I can do spirit. We can achieve it. We can get it done. So I think with that, other refineries will spring up. In another 5-10 years, we'll have the minimum of 5 functional refineries in Nigeria. And with that, we are going to become the next exporter of petrol. Nigeria is going to become the next exporter of petroleum products in Africa.
Exactly. Very interesting perspective you are giving. But let's also take a look at some of the issues within that sector. In the last 5 years, one of the game changers in the Nigerian oil and gas sector is the Petroleum Industry Act that many have cited as being the game changer. But for you, although in the last 2 weeks you have seen a call for the review of that law, but what has really changed with this law coming into effect in the Nigerian oil and gas sector?
Yes, quite frankly, the PIA is an excellent project. It's an excellent bill. But where we have a problem is the implementation. We are not implementing the PIA fully. Because if we are doing that, some of the issues that we are having relating to importation, Dangote refinery, the union, the NUPEC will be having those issues. If the PIA is properly implemented, if the the rules there, the sections there are carried out completely. The issues that we're having related to importation, related to local refining, related to crude, assessing crude, local refineries assessing crude in Naira, and the unionization of workers, we won't be having these issues because the PIA is an explicit bill. It's so clear. It spells out almost all the issues we are having. So for me, what we really need to do is more of the implementation of the PIA. The PIA is an excellent bill, though there are some sections that really needs to be revisited, that really need to be amended. But by and large, PIA, if properly implemented, some of these problems that we're having in relating to supply, in relating to prices, in relating to operations will be settled.
Interesting. Let's also take a look at another very success story of Nigerian oil and gas sector. You know, the PIA is one document, one regulatory document that have set the pace for liberalization of the sector in the world we have seen so far. Now, talking about liberalization of the sector, we now have the midstream, downstream, then we also have the upstream, sector of the Nigerian oil and gas sector. But what do you have to say about these two subsectors that we have, and how far are they really deepening oil production in Nigeria?
Well, for me, before now, it used to be the upstream, which the midstream and the downstream. But because of the implementation of the PIA bill, the midstream and the downstream is being harmonized from DPR to NMDPRA. NMDPRA means Nigerian midstream and downstream. So the midstream and the downstream activities are being meshed together and they are being harmonized. So for me, let's start with the upstream. The upstream, for me, I would say that we are doing okay, but there is room for improvement. The 1.6, 1.7 million barrels per day production is still not enough. Looking at the fact that theft, at least there's a recent report that in the last 5 years, Nigeria lost over 18 billion. Nigeria lost over 18 billion to oil theft. So it means that 37 million barrels per day has been lost in the last 5 years to oil theft. So for me, that is a gap that needs to be closed, because the theft in the upstream sector is huge. Is huge. And if that sector can be sanitized and we optimize our production, we won't be having issues with Dangote saying, oh, we are shutting down because we don't have access to crude in Naira. As the biggest exporter of crude in Africa, our refineries are not supposed to be suffering or having issues when it comes to assessing crude. So the oil theft need to be dealt properly and make sure that, because if you look at it, averagely, we are supposed to be producing over 2 million barrels daily, between 2.5 to 3 million barrels daily. But because of the oil theft, that's why we keep having 1.5, 1.7. And if you look at it, it is still below our OPEC targets. It is below our budget. So the upstream is doing very well, but they really need to work on the production level, because Nigeria basically depends on production of crude. And that area, we are lagging behind. We can do better in that area. But for the downstream, thank God we have Dangote Refinery as the pace setter, telling other business owners that, oh, we can make it happen. The refineries can work. As a private owner, you can come and own a refinery. So that is why some of us are fully in support of the Dangote Refinery, because he has encouraged others that no, refining in Nigeria is possible. Because the last time Nigeria refined properly, refined adequately, was 30 years ago. 30 years ago. In the last 30 years, we've not had a functional refinery, just like the one of Dangote. Are you getting me?
Very well.
So we've not had a functional refinery in the last 30 years. So for me, we are moving in the right direction in the downstream sector.
Exactly. Now, very interesting package, submission you have put out right there. But let's also look at the global oil crude price uncertainty. In the last 65 years of Nigeria independence, this is one area that every economist, energy economist, industry player like you are always very afraid of when it comes to Nigerian budget. Having depend on the crude oil as our source of revenue, and global oil price uncertainty, the vulnerability of it, have a chance of mopping up most of our budgeting. But what do you have to say about that going forward?
Well, for me, it's so unfortunate that a country like Nigeria that is blessed with so many natural resources, so many diverse natural resources, we are so lazy that the only natural resources we are depending on is our crude. We have other natural resources that can fetch us more money. So we really need to look into the non-oil source of revenue, which they are valuable. We need to, for us, putting oil as 80% of our revenue and benchmarking it to $75. We've not had throughout the year, our Bonny Light has only exceeded $75 in just January and February. Between March to date, Bonny Light has traded lesser, between $69, $70, $71, $72 between March to date. That's even below our benchmark. So that means we will keep having deficit. We will keep borrowing to fund our budget. So the government of the day really needs to diversify when it comes to income or revenue generation. Oil, depending on oil, is no longer viable. We need to look into our non-oil source.
All right, interesting from
So
you
that is my
today.
take.
All right. I have to stop you there, but I will say your submission are very interesting, and I also want to wish you happy 65th independent anniversary from all my crew here, the Market Report and ADBN Television, to you over there, Olatide.
Thank you so much.
Right. All right. So thank you so much, Olatide. I've been speaking with Olatide Jeremiah. You happen to be the CEO of PetroleumPrice.ng. And from all of us here, the Market Report crew, ADBN Television from Abuja, want to say happy 65th anniversary independence for all Nigerians out there. And we all pray that this 65th year anniversary will be the beginning of greater, better economy and market robust improvement for all Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching the Market Report. And I'm signing out at this point in time. Till we come again with another edition. My name is Adefola Alamnikon. Bye for now.